We left ourselves with moderate mileage but not much climbing on our final day of this Transamerican Bicycle Tour. Much of the route out of Richmond follows the wide James River. In terms of towns that we ride through on the whole trip, I have been most looking forward to colonial Williamsburg and hoping for a glimpse of the vacationing families, seeing the sights, and the actors in period costume. From Williamsburg, the Colonial National Historic Parkway connects it to our final destination of Yorktown and the Chesapeake Bay. Good morning! It's Sunday, July 21st, day 67, and we are leaving beautiful historic downtown Richmond. And where are we going today? Yorktown, Virginia! Oh my, the day is here. How do I feel? I don't know. I thought I'd have some days to lead me up to this point to get mentally prepared, but it happened so quick with, changing the route and doing 104 miles yesterday to get us to this point where we're saying, hey, we're going to Yorktown today. And, we get to go on this Virginia Capitol Trail, so some time away from traffic. Happy about that. See you on the road. I'm gonna trade out the stretch limo for that and finish the ride on the high wheeler. With all the heavy rain yesterday, the bad news about a recumbent seat is that it's foam, and so that thing is just waterlogged. I had to sit on a very squishy seat this morning. And then second, shoes. We really did nothing to try to dry out our shoes. Took them off and left them open, but I also put on some very squishy wet shoes this morning. Yuck. David, I can hear your chain. I can hear your gears. Your derailleur needs adjusting. Your chain needs lubrication. Yes, probably all of that is true, but it is going to make it the next 70 miles. We had an excellent host last night. It was one of my college roommates, J-Boy. His wife, Shenandoah. Yes, his wife's name is Shenandoah. Her mother, so my roommate's mother-in-law, hosted us here in Richmond and made us a pasta dinner last night. And then this morning we had bagels and yogurt and orange juice. And she sent us packing with some bars. So we've been so grateful for the kind hosts we've had across this whole trip. And that was our last host. Paul and I were talking this morning, asking when was our last rest day. I think it was the 4th of July. So that was 17 days ago. Finished a long stretch without a rest day. It's the longest we've gone this summer without resting. But I think once we saw the end in sight, it's just not worth it to take a rest day. That means finishing a day later, getting home a day later. So the rest day will be tomorrow on the plane. Today, our final day, should be the fewest feet of climbing since we left Kansas. That's nice, but it is a long day mileage-wise. From where we were in Richmond, it was actually 74 point something miles to Victory Monument. And coming off of a 104-mile day, I know my legs will be tired few hours into today's ride. What did I miss the most this summer? My wife, number one. Only got to see her for like a 48-hour period in Dolores, Colorado. And then, FaceTime calls and phone calls every day. Second, Sherlock Holmes, my little dog. He's a cute guy, super playful, and I certainly love when I get sent a video of him. Third, sleeping in the same bed is something I miss. With a few exceptions, it has been a different bed for like the past 70 nights straight. Starting with when I left Tucson on the drive to San Francisco. So just the idea of going to bed in the same bed every night and not having to sleep on my sleeping pad anymore, the sleeping bag, and wild changes in temperature that make me uncomfortable. Yeah, the creature comforts of home sound really nice right now. My own shower. I'm looking forward to the Olympics starting and just honestly being a bit of a couch potato and watching Olympic events in the evening on NBC with Allison and Sherlock. That sounds great. What's happening with the stretch limo? Well, I knew when I purchased the stretch limo that I might keep it forever. But I think I had a stronger feeling, I think I'm just going to use this to cycle across the country. I mentioned before, I'm not a cyclist. This isn't my hobby. Doesn't mean I dislike it, but it's not something I gravitate towards and wish I could do a whole lot more of. And getting this thing to Vallejo was not that big of a deal because we could stick it in the back of my parents' van. The problem is getting it from Richmond to Tucson, and this is a long wheelbase recumbent, so the longest of all the recumbent types, and it would take special boxes, shipping that would be absurd in price. So I made the decision that I was going to sell it. So I listed it for a very low price on Craigslist here in I think Norfolk's Craigslist, and with the intention of, hey, I just I don't want to haggle, I just want this to a good home, so I don't need to worry about the stress of expense of getting this back to Tucson when I would ride it rarely. So oddly enough, somebody who had been following me on YouTube, watching these YouTube videos, he came across my ad from Maryland, and he said, I'm super interested in purchasing your recumbent. So I will be meeting him at Victory Monument or somewhere around there later today to do the handoff. I'm going to take all of the luggage and bags and accessories off it that I'm keeping with me and putting into a big duffel bag, and that's what I'll be using as checked bags. But the bike is my last day with the stretch limo. I'm not a very nostalgic person. If I want to remember this trip, I'll watch the videos in the future. But I don't need to go out and look at a bike that would be in my garage or something. And I'm glad it's going to somebody who is really going to enjoy it. He said that in some odd way, I've inspired him to consider cycling across America. So that's super cool. And he has an embroidery machine, and he said, I'm gonna embroider a shirt for you. It's gonna take 3 hours on my embroidery machine as a souvenir. And so I have no idea what's going to be embroidered on this shirt. I will find out today, and of course share it in the video. How am I feeling on the final day? How does it make you feel? I don't feel overcome with emotions. That certainly has happened this summer at various points along the way. You know, really difficult stretches of days. Getting to meet up with my wife and Sherlock and Dolores. You know, a certain song comes on and there's this beautiful vista. Like those times have filled me with emotions that have brought tears to my eyes. But I'm not feeling that, at least right now. Who knows when I pull up to the monument at the end. Yeah, I'm feeling a sense of pride in my accomplishment for sure. But not not like, oh, I'm gonna break down with emotion. Yeah, I think my strongest emotion right now is honestly relief. Relief that I don't need to get on the bike tomorrow. Relief that I get to sleep in my own bed, you know, return home. Those sort of things. That's it.
Charles City, Virginia is just a dot on our map with a population of 104, but home to notable residents including First Lady Martha Jefferson and President John Tyler.
There's only been one other day where we've seen this many cyclists, and that's when we were going through Sacramento back on day 2. I think that was day 2, yeah. On the American River, Jedediah Smith bike trail. But I think we're seeing even more cyclists today on this Virginia Capitol Trail. But take away those 2 days, and the most cyclists we ever saw in a day was maybe 15. I mean, an average was 0 to 2. Morning. We are crossing the James River. The James River is enormous. It looks like we're crossing a huge, huge lake. This is very, very wide. It is fun to be finishing this ride on a Sunday. Tons of cyclists out, tons of people on the James River playing. It's the 21st of July, 2024, and there is a run, bike, swim event going on in Williamsburg. So we're passing lots of racing runners and cyclists, some of which look wet. Although I looked at the event, and it looks like you can do a combination of 2 of the 3 of run, bike, swim, but not all 3. So I guess not a true triathlon. But I think they should have started a little earlier. I mean, it's 11:20. Athletes are still out. It's getting warm. I'll be honest, I was dragging for most of today. And I thought, going into it, I would have thought, oh, the last day I'm going to have so much adrenaline that's going to be flying. That was not the case. Obviously, that's due to 104 miles in the rain yesterday. But we made a stop at some place for a breakfast sandwich on a croissant with egg and sausage and cheese and some sort of sauce. And I had a Coke, and now I'm feeling like I got energy to finish this and then some.
If I crash now, could I use my 21 mile credit?
Oh, for sure. That's only fair. If you would have told me at the beginning of the summer that I was going to finish this in 67 days with 0 falls, 0 tire punctures, and only 3 days of riding in the rain, I would not have believed you. This has been, I would have taken that and run with it if given the chance. So I know people have done this with injuries. I've met people who have been injured due to falls. I've met people who have been bit by dogs. I've met people who said he patched 10 punctures in one day. I've read reports of people who are riding in rain for days and days and days on end. We've been super fortunate. And it's starting to get coastal. Almost. Can I smell salty sea air yet? Am I making that up? Can't be too far away. I'm 18.2 miles to Yorktown, but I'm sure I'm closer than that to Chesapeake Bay.
I visited colonial Williamsburg on a family trip in middle school back in the early 1990s with my parents and both sets of grandparents, but haven't returned since. It's a touch sad mentioning that since all 4 of those grandparents have long since passed away. I remember enjoying seeing the demonstrations of weaving, cooking, and toy making using period tools by reenactors in period costumes. They call this a living history museum, and it contains 500 buildings, 88 of which are the originals.
Real quick ride through colonial Williamsburg and saw the easternmost entrance of William and Mary College. Yeah, that colonial Williamsburg is pretty cool. I remember going there as a middle schooler. And yeah, wish I had more time to get off the bike and do a proper stroll through. But we have people waiting for us in Yorktown. I realized I haven't mentioned, I don't think, who's meeting us in Yorktown. So, college friend of me and Allison, she unfortunately passed away a year ago. But her parents, they live in the DC metro area and have been following the videos and decided to come down here and cheer us on at the finish line. And take us out to a late lunch. So that's really kind of them. It'd be nice to have smiling faces cheering us on when we reach the Victory Monument, which we are 12.3 miles from. Woohoo! My mom knows I've been mentioning VBS themes on these videos as I pass churches. And she sent me a picture of their church's VBS theme, which is scuba, diving into leadership with God. Exciting. Underwater theme. When I was a kid, VBS themes were like genealogy memorization, and we were thankful. We were thankful for those VBS themes. memorizing genealogies all summer long. Well, in tragic news, the parkway that we were on that's supposed to take us right into Yorktown, right at the last minute, detour sign. Guess where the detour takes us? Onto the interstate, where there are signs that says it's illegal to ride a bicycle. This is terrible. Well, that was hectic. The last day we had not been on an interstate, and we had to get on that one. There was no other way around for a bicycle, and this detour added 6 or 7 miles to our trip, which was already a 75-mile trip, and we already went through one construction zone that said road closed, and we lifted our bikes over the barricade and rode through and made it. But this one that we decided not to attempt was a bridge on this Yorktown Parkway, and that would have been terrible to go. It would have been, I think, 2.4 miles to this bridge, and if the bridge was truly out or impassable, then to retrace our steps and do this detour on the interstate anyways. But now we are 5.6 miles away from the finish line. I don't want that to sour the whole trip. Just a hiccup in the final 10 miles. The shoulders on interstates are huge. And yeah, the traffic's going by really fast and it's really loud. But the challenging part of that last stretch was every merge lane coming from the right. Because those cars merging are zipping in so fast, so you have to be looking over your shoulder to find the right time to get back into the shoulder on the other side of the merge lane. Ugh. For both cars coming onto the interstate and exiting the interstate. 2 miles to go. What? 1 more mile to go. 0.5 miles to go. I actually was thinking of quitting right here. I don't know if I got the strength to press on. Come on. Come on, David. Yes. Okay, yes, I do have the strength. Let's go half more mile. See what this monument's all about. 0.2 miles to go. I am on Bacon Street, headed northeast. And this should dead end right at the monument, which I do not see yet, despite being now 0.1 miles away. 0.1 miles away. Do I see the monument? No, all I see is trees. I see some marble. There's a ramp.
Head northwest on Main Street toward Conti de Grasse Street, then turn left onto Smith Street. Turn left onto Smith Street. Your destination.
I'm here. That's it. Can I go home now? Oh, I'm glad it's over. And here are Pete and Marty, who are waiting on a different road. It looks like they have signs and everything, and I feel bad that we approached the monument from a different angle.
Congratulations! That's it. Okay, we made it. And we're gonna go up and see Dave and Paul. Marty, you gotta ring the bells. Cowbell. Let's do it. That's it.
How did we miss you?
Yeah, let that water fly.
How do you feel, Paul? Accomplished?
I feel tired.
Look at that monument.
Very tired.
Besides the fact that Yorktown, Virginia is the eastern terminus of the Transamerica Trail, I admittedly didn't know anything else about the city. It served as a strategic location during the Revolutionary War, since the harbor here was well protected and sized for the largest of ships. The monument at our endpoint celebrates America's victory in the Revolutionary War, but it wasn't built until over 100 years later in 1884. It's 98 feet tall and was originally topped by a figure of liberty, but replaced by a figure representing victory after the original was struck by lightning in 1942. As a cyclist finishing this monumental ride, did you catch my play on words there? I'll say I prefer the victory symbol.
Whew, so much has happened since I talked to the camera last. Finished at the Victory Monument. We were met by Pete and Marty, parents of a college friend of me and my wife, and they had signs for us and Gatorades and water, and it was so nice seeing an encouraging face. Then we went to a late lunch, and I had half a rack of baby back ribs and 2 pieces of cornbread. What else was on the plate? Coleslaw or something? It was delicious. And then I sold the stretch limo. So a gentleman and his wife drove down from Maryland, a 4-hour trip, to buy my bicycle from me. He's owned a number of recumbents, and so I wish him the best and hope he gets a lot of use out of it. Then I didn't have a flight till tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. And I would have had to sleep in a church, and woke up at 2 a.m. and got an Uber to the airport. So I thought, I'm just going to go to the airport because there was an 8 p.m. flight tonight. I went to the desk and I said, is there any way I can get on that 8 p.m. flight, a red-eye flight, arriving tomorrow morning in Tucson instead of tomorrow night? And she was on the phone with some agent for 15 minutes, but it worked. And I'm on the evening flight and I couldn't be happier. So I'm getting in at 8:15 tomorrow morning in Tucson. So that's what's going on. Here's the airport. I love airports like these. You just breeze through security. So friendly and nice. And for the final daily recap of summer 2024, today's scenery was a 6 out of 10. I especially liked being on the that bike path alongside the road. That was nice to get a break from the traffic and some nice scenery. The difficulty today, well, because, man, that detour at the end, and, we went, I forget what the mileage was it near like 85 or maybe more? Like after a 104-mile day, it was tough. So I know it was flat, but I'm going to give it a 6. And my overall feeling of positivity, 10. The easiest 10 I ever gave. It's behind me, I'm happy, and really happy to be